onto Assembly Drive. Now, are they gonna let you in the road for the cars, or be polite and stop and say, okay, now's your turn, that's not, but like a four-way stop, which you know how long it takes to get through that.
We are in Montreat, they'd be polite.
All right, good, and it's gonna take twice as long to get out to do an emergency. So, in an emergency situation, it's not gonna necessarily be faster to have an additional bridge at that location from people coming in Montreat from various directions. You're safer to go down, straight down Assembly Drive. Example 2. Texas Road is a recreation area for people of all ages. If you will take out your packet map to page 242 and look at everything between Texas Road and Assembly Drive, you'll see it is all related to recreation. People come there, little kids play in Robert Lake Park. You have the tennis courts. You've got Bill Wild's hangout for middle income, middle school. There we go. And then there's the volleyball court there. And so that and there's right here we have the for kids for daycare and then on Sunday morning, you know what it is between Anderson and here. There's a steady stream of parents and kids separating and getting joined together. 3 minutes?
Yeah, Bob, you overdid it.
One final thing. No bridge is the answer for this. It doesn't solve, a bridge is not going to solve the emergency problems, it's not going to solve the safety problems, and we're more safe without that bridge than we are with it. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Bob.
I could go?
Ms. Nichols?
Grace Nichols, is this working? Okay. 327 Swanee Drive. I attended the retreat that this fine council members were there, and I heard a spectacular report by our chief of police, and he is the authority of the safety of this valley. And I respect his opinion, and I respect what he said. And I wish I could read everything that he said, and I wish you could hear it. I think a bridge, whether it's Tennessee, whether it's Texas Road, needs to be available for all people who are at the conference, college, students. An emergency can occur in every part of Montreat. But I would like to urge this council to read a lot of the public letters being sent. I have read one in particular from Steve Sewell, who is an outstanding member of our community, and he pointed out that he would urge the council to complete a bridge to accommodate emergency vehicles. First responders deal immediately and effectively with fire, accidents down electrical lines and other utilities, heart attacks, possible criminal activity, and further to facilitate smooth flow of general traffic, especially for faster access to Montreat College from the Montreat Gate and for such a delivery to pick up children. At one time, I remember sitting on the council of the Montreat Cottagers urging the one-way street, which did occur, that worked. It's possible during the summer that you will have that flow. Otherwise, you have bottlenecks. I have attended many town council meetings, and I respect this town administration. I think they know what they're doing, and I think they know what the job is of good governing. That's the object of this government, is to take care of the safety of your citizens. And that's all I need to say.
Thank you, Grace. Who's next? Mike Sonnenberg, come on in. Items on the agenda.
Mike Sonnenberg, 125 Virginia Road. Tonight I'd like to voice my opinion as to whether we actually need the new big bridge. My answer is a resounding no for the following reasons. First, I won't comment on because Bob Cunningham did a very good job. In addition, a big new bridge on Texas Road might create even more security problems for Montreat residents in normal times, as it would encourage more and faster traffic on Texas Road, thus endangering the many youth and others who walk on the road and frequent the park, the Wild Center, the tennis courts, and the Welsh Field. In addition to that, huge sums of money spent on the bridge come at times when replacing the bridge could be better spent on alternative projects which are more important, in my opinion, such as exits out of Montreat, local fire protection procedures, additional parking, improved cell phone service, and the list goes on. Finally, I would suggest that what hasn't been talked about is this bridge, if built, is going to have to be replaced. And you are obligating your children and grandchildren to replace that. And the worst case scenario is you've got 4 bridges that have been built in probably the last 15 or 20 years. That means they'll have 5 bridges to replace within a very short period of time, and that will cost them an enormous amount of money. And safety is not the issue here at all. There's plenty of safety, as has been stated earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Who's next? Janie?
Janie Moore, 100 First Road. Some people have ridiculed the notion of replacing the Texas Road Bridge, that has to do with safety. They've ridiculed that idea. I would disagree. The very function of a bridge is to provide safe access into and out of an area. Having this bridge ensures more options and increased access to a large portion of our town for both the general public and for emergency vehicles. All of the bridges which currently access the area of Montreat that the Texas Road Bridge serves are old, and some are repeatedly banged up by large vehicles. At some point, probably sooner than we would hope, as Mike mentioned, those bridges will need to be replaced. Please understand that when they are replaced, they will be required to also meet whatever the current standards are at that time. And thus, their design will likely be different than what we may be used to or expect. Hopefully, we won't have several bridges needing to be replaced at the same time, but that could occur. Since we have the opportunity to replace one of them now, which means it'll last a lot longer than the others, it would be prudent to do so. For it would be good to know that we have at least one bridge that is up to standards and functioning, that is ready and available to service this very important area to our town. We heard from the college that they plan to grow substantially, and last week they made it very clear that they would like the Texas Road Bridge to be replaced, indicating that having this access would help make their campus and their students safer. That in and of itself should tell us that we need to replace the bridge. The conference center also has many facilities on this side of Flat Creek, which, like the college, would be well served by a new, up-to-code, and functioning bridge. I hope that as you make your decision, you focus on the long-term needs of this community, because what we don't do now will have to be shouldered by your kids and grandkids in the future. Let's also understand that the bridge grant is designed precisely for this type of project. The concept at work is that many hands make light work. We all pay for the program with our taxes, and as citizens of a very mobile nation, we all benefit from its results. Wherever we may live or visit, or simply pass through, if we simply put off dealing with crumbling infrastructure now, we are not being responsible stewards of this town for our citizens or for the many visitors who come here every year. Plus, the current site is the least environmentally damaging site and the least expensive, and we can make it look attractive if that's what we desire to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Janie. Tom Frith.
This is one of those speeches where you lose all your friends. Tom Frist, 98 Frist Road. I'm talking about another subject. As a Montreat citizen against the Florida Terrace location for the new town hall, I'm very grateful to those plaintiffs and the 110 others who financed the lawsuit that stopped it from being built. But as a Montreat taxpayer, I'm very sad that the town didn't immediately settle the dispute when it discovered that its insurance company would not cover its defense costs. I'm equally sad to learn of the plaintiff's requirement that they be fully reimbursed by the town as a condition for settling the lawsuit. Personally, I'd always thought that the money generously put up by the plaintiffs and the 110 contributors to fund the legal suit against the town were gifts and not loans to be repaid, similar to, although greater than, the many volunteer hours and gifts of money that others of us had dedicated to the non-legal aspects of the campaign. And while I realize that plaintiff reimbursement is considered to be common practice in litigation cases, I feel that such a requirement will delay a settlement and fuel the fire of bitterness and division in our community. While one side believes the judge would eventually order such a repayment for the plaintiffs in his or her final decision on the case, the other side does not. Because I am grateful to the plaintiffs, but also because I feel that it is not fair for them to force all Montreat taxpayers to reimburse them for all their expenses, this week I propose to the plaintiffs and to the town council a compromise solution. I propose that the town establish a reconciliation fund where grateful people like Claire and I could freely donate money to help reimburse those who insist on having their litigation loans repaid as a condition for stopping the lawsuit. If by any chance money were left over in the fund, it would be donated to the MRA or to the Swannanoa Valley Christian Ministries. If this compromise alternative that I have just suggested is rejected by the plaintiffs in town, which surely is likely given my track record on successful compromises, then I am personally in favor of the town council and us taxpayers biting the bullet and accepting the demands of the plaintiffs. While doing so might increase bitterness, it will be cheaper than continuing on to trial.
Thank you, Tom. Parrot?
Baron Wright, 399 Appalachian Way. People like to divide the world into two groups. You know, those who love Neil Diamond and those who cannot stand him. When it comes to government, I find myself dividing the world into two groups. I see a group that has some sort of concept of the public interest, and who believes that government should, in certain ways and certain times, do things for the public good. Where the other group has much less interest for the public good and, however, it knows what it likes and what it doesn't like. Unfortunately, I think in Montreat, if past experience is any indication, Montreat has more than its share of people in that second group. I see a distinct lack of concept of public interest here. I see all sorts of people scrambling around to support a position of their own, motivated by their own interests. First of all, it is appropriate for the town to do good public works. And I happen to believe that some bridge, wherever it might be, falls into that category and should be built. I think it would be totally inappropriate for the town council to misuse taxpayer money to pay off their friends or supporters. And Tom is right, except for his closing remarks. I think the council should slam the door on that settlement proposal immediately. Settle the lawsuit without such preconcessions if that opportunity comes. But do not settle it under threat. Millions for defense, not 1 cent for tribute. Let's go in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Perry. Anyone else? Suzanne?
Suzanne McCaskill, 114 John Knox Road. And I have just a little statement to make. One day I was looking for a car. I looked and I looked and I looked to buy an automobile. Well, I finally decided on one. I drove it, had trouble. I drove it some more, drove it some more. I kept having trouble. So I turned it back in, a complete loss. Off went my money. So I live in a wonderful community. I wonder how many, because I decided that's the car that I wanted. It's my decision. How many in the community would help me recoup my money? It fits the plaintiff's thing. Tom Chris.
Thank you, Suzanne. Who else? Don, come on up. I didn't know if you were standing up to let her sit down, or...
No, he's got something to say.
Oh, you, okay. Come on, Bill. Thought you were being a gentleman, Bill.
Long way to go.
I heard that.
All right. Bill McCaskill, 114 John Knox Road. I am here at the request of Ruth Curry, who used to be on the town council. She wanted me to express regrets that she was unable to attend the meeting tonight. And it has to do, her comment has to do with the question of all taxpayers reimbursing the plaintiffs in the lawsuit against the town of Montreat. And what she says is, the absurdity of reimbursing the plaintiffs in a lawsuit against the elected officials of the town is overwhelming. All taxpayers already will be required to pay for the expensive legal counsel to defend ourselves. Please recall that elected officials of the town made a rational decision for a much-needed town hall, a decision that had the support of many legal residents of the town of Montreat. And then she closes it with one final short statement. Be fair. Let those who supported the lawsuit pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Don?
My name is Don Reed. I live on Shenandoah Terrace. I have some supporting documents here to substantiate the figures that I'm about to give you. If anybody would like one of the handouts. I'm sorry. If you would like a handout, they're up here. There are 3 different handouts that support the numbers that I'm about to review with you. My big issue on all these projects from the very beginning has been about money, and in attempting to understand the size of the impact of these particular projects on our pocketbooks, I did the best I could to come up with a summation of what we spent. And I'd like to review that with you, and you can refute it if you like. First of all, we spent design, engineering, and geothermal well, $158,700. That's for the town hall. The land purchase was about $225,000. That gives us a total of about $384,000 that's been spent on the town hall. the Texas Road Bridge project. Engineering prior to the free money that Ron talks about was about $50,000 that we've spent. There will be no reimbursement on that $50,000. The total design and engineering costs since our contract with the feds and the state has been $289,000 or about $290,000. Our 20% of that is about $58,000, making a total that the town has spent on the Texas Road project $108,000. Now the lawsuit. Ruth Curry's wrong. It is a long-held legal tradition that plaintiffs be reimbursed, especially citizens, when they sue the government. The legal fees paid by the town to the town lawyers is about $70,000. The legal fees paid by the plaintiffs is about $65,000. An estimate of legal fees, and I think you have to consider this, for Mr. Stackhouse and for the LLC could be as much as a total of $50,000, giving you a total of $190,000 of potential liability for the town for the legal fees. Add all that up, and you get a total of $682,000, which includes the land, but take the land out. You still wind up with $450,000 that has been spent, almost $1,000 for each resident of Montreat. That's spent already, and what do we have to show for it? We have a deep geothermal well and a deeply divided community. That's all I see. And that deeply divided community, oh, my time has expired. I'm sorry. You have a mandate to fix it. I know, as Patton told his troops, do it, and I know you will. I have every confidence you'll fix all this. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Erskine? I'll get you next. Here, Mike.
Erskine Clark, Providence Terrace. I want to join those who have expressed appreciation to the new council for the way you have begun to clean up the debris left from the previous administration. You received an overwhelming mandate by the voters of Montreat to stop the town hall on Florida Terrace and clean up the residual mess. You received a mandate by an overwhelming vote to ditch the huge bridge, to fix the garbage mess, to reduce the proliferating regulations, to be more transparent with citizens, and to provide generous opportunities for citizens to address critical issues before the community. You've already given clear indications that you will attend to these overwhelming mandates with vigor and decisiveness as you work for the public good as understood by the overwhelming majority of Montreaters. An email from Ron Nally to Peter Boggs provides a summary of legal fees paid in regard to the town hall lawsuit. Two items stand out. First, as already been noted, apparently the town's insurance company has been able to refuse the payment of these legal fees because the town violated a North